WordPress is very smart and powerful. As you can already tell, it handled most of the logic for us. It can handle even more logic for us by selecting which template to load. Right now, we only have one template, which is the index template. However, we can create multiple templates for different pages, such as 404s, single blog posts, pages, archives, and so much more. The question is, how do we make WordPress acknowledge we have multiple templates and which one is meant for which type of page? In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the WordPress template hierarchy. What you'll see here is in the WordPress Codex. What this actually is a free theme handbook created by WordPress. You'll find a lot of information on how to create themes, and it's especially useful if you're new to theme development. Right now, I've skipped to the template hierarchy chapter of this book. You'll find a diagram here. The diagram shows us the order in which WordPress uses to load a particular template. It starts from left to right. First things first, WordPress will check what kind of page type is being loaded. Is it loading an archive, single post, or maybe a 404 has occurred? Then, it'll go through the diagram and try to find the correct file to load. For example, let's say we're on a 404 page. If we look at the diagram and follow the line, you'll see WordPress will first look for a 404.php file. If it finds that file, then it'll use that as a template and stop searching for a template to use. Otherwise, WordPress will just load the index template. Actually, if you take a look at the overall diagram, all points eventually lead to the index template, if nothing is found. We could, if we wanted to, just use the index template and then add our own logic to check to see what kind of page is being loaded. But that's overkill. It would be so much simpler to just use the template hierarchy WordPress provides out of the box. You don't have to write any logic. WordPress handles it all for us. Let's go back to the template hierarchy page. On this page, you'll find more info on how the process works and which templates have precedence over others. For example, if I scroll down further, I'll eventually find information about the 404 template. WordPress documents what template files WordPress will search for. It's usually best to go through this document to better understand how the template hierarchy works, especially if you have a hard time following the diagram. Another useful resource is this site called wphierarchy.com, which I also provide in the resource section of this lecture. It's very similar to the image we looked at earlier, except it's interactive. You can click on a particular template and you'll be taken to the page with the relevant information. I highly recommend you bookmark this for future reference. For our theme, we will be creating templates for single posts, pages, categories, search results, 404 pages, and even more. Right now, I want you to go to your site and click on a single blog post. You'll see that WordPress takes care of querying everything and displaying only a single post. That's great, but there are a few noticeable problems. Our post is only showing the excerpt. It has this read more button, which we don't need, and it also isn't showing tags or comments. We could add logic to the index template to check if this is a single post, but I think creating a template for this would be so much better, cleaner, and efficient. According to the template hierarchy, WordPress will search for a file called single post type, where the phrase post type is dynamic and can mean anything. We haven't talked about custom post types yet. When we start creating plugins, we will take a look into that. But for now, we'll actually just create a universal single post template. So we'll be creating the single.php template instead. Create this file now. I'm going to just simply copy and paste the code inside my index template to the single template. First, I want to remove everything inside this div tag with the ID of post and the pagination. I also want to remove the breaking news widget at the very top. Next, open up the single.html template file inside the assets folder. I want you to look for the div tag with the class single post. Copy everything here and then paste it into the spot where we deleted the previous div tag. So we're kind of back to where we started, but that's fine because this gives us the opportunity to fix everything. Unlike the index template, there are a couple of sections here we didn't go over. That's fine. I'll show you how to tackle these extra sections. For now, what I want you to do is remake the loop and fill in all the blanks as much as you can. Pause the video if you need to. Alright, let's do this together. The first step is to check if there are any posts. Then, we'll begin the loop. Inside the loop, we'll call the post function. Now, I'm going to cut and paste this code inside the loop like so. That was pretty quick. If you need a refresher, I suggest you rewatch the previous lectures if you were confused by what we did so far. At this point, the only thing we need to do is use template tag functions to replace the static content. First up is the actual post itself. Let's go through this one by one. Replace the text in this tag with the title function. Echo out the date. Use the category template tag. Then use the comments number template tag. For the single template, we display more information about the author other than their name. In this case, we want to keep our code clean and not repeat code. The best way to do this is by using variables. At the very top of the loop, create a variable named AuthorID and set its value returned by the getTheAuthor meta function. Next, create a variable named AuthorURL and set its value returned by the getTheAuthorPostURL function. Now we can just echo out the URL and use the author template tag like so. For the featured image, I'm going to use the same code from the index template and paste it into the single template like so. I'm going to make a small modification. I'm going to remove this array since I don't need the fade effect. Let's move on to the content itself. Instead of using the excerpt function, we'll be using the content function. This function will display the full contents of a post, which is what we want instead of a summary. I'm going to add in some space after this. Lastly, I'm going to call a function called theTags. This function will include all tags related to this post and take care of comma separating all the tags. It'll also generate a link for each tag. This function has 3 parameters which are all optional. We'll only concern ourselves with the first 2. The first parameter will display the text before the tags. I don't want to display any text, so I'll just pass in an empty string. The second parameter will be the separator. I'm just going to pass in a space. The default value is commas. Let's check out the single post and see if everything's working. If you don't see tags, then it's probably because you don't have tags attached to this post. In that case, just quickly add some and then check back on this page. You should see something similar to what I have. We're almost done. There's actually a few things WordPress recommends we do to make our theme compatible with most WordPress sites. In the resource section, I provide a link to the Theme Development Codex page. On the content sidebar, I want you to click Single Post. If you scroll up and down, you'll notice WordPress jots down some important notes for us to know when creating templates. You shouldn't consider these rules, but more as recommendations. So let's see what WordPress has to say about the single template. The first thing it suggests is that we should call a function called WP link pages for paginated posts. What exactly does this do and how does it work? Well, WordPress provides a feature called Quick Tags. Quick Tags can be thought of as code that you can insert into a post. WordPress will replace this with more code. It's almost like shortcodes, except Quick Tags are special to WordPress and not something commonly extended by developers. Let's take a look at how this works. First, let's edit the post. I'm going to switch from the visual editor to the text editor. Then, I'm going to insert the following HTML comment somewhere in between this post. Next page. What this will do is break the content into multiple pages. This is useful if you have an extremely long post and would like to paginate it into separate pages without having to actually create an individual post for each section. Save this and then let's view the post. You'll notice it won't work right away. This is because we haven't called the WP links page function. Call this function right after the content function. Let's refresh the post, and you should now see your post being paginated into separate pages. This is really great. The best part is we didn't have to do much work to get this working. I'm going to provide a link to this function so you can learn more about it. Actually, now that I look at it, I want to center this. If we take a look at the documentation, you'll see it says we can pass in an array to customize this further. The before and after keys is the text HTML that is displayed before the list. There's even an example usage provided. Let's use that and remove everything but the before and after keys in the array. Bootstrap provides a handy class called text center, so we'll just modify this paragraph tag and add the class text center. Let's refresh the page to see if our text is now centered. Let's keep going down the list. We're already displaying the title and content, so we can skip those. The post date is already being displayed. We're already displaying the categories and links, so let's skip that one. It's suggesting we provided an edit link, but I'm going to ignore this suggestion. If we were to view the post, you'll notice WordPress already provides this top bar with a link to edit the current post, so we don't need to add our own. Now it's suggesting we display comments and a form for submission. I'm going to cover this in a future lecture, as comments deserve its own kind of lecture. So let's skip over this one for now and move on to the last and final point. WordPress now recommends we add links to any post posted previously or after this link. We can do this by simply calling the previous post link and next post link functions. I want you to know that you shouldn't confuse these two functions with its plural form. The plural form is used for pages with multiple posts, while the singular form is used for single posts. Inside the template, we have a section for the next and previous post. So let's replace the static HTML links with their respective functions like so. That's it for now. Why don't you look at a post and see if these links are working for you? In the next lecture, we'll finish up our template by adding comments and a form to submit additional comments.